Hello to everyone. Warm welcome to the wide audience who follow us on social media platform right now. Congratulations to all the colleagues, all the followers, and those who believe in citizenship education and the strength of citizenship education, because from now on, from today, we give a start of INSEE Citizenship Education Week, entitled with an interesting slogan, Art of Living Online. Today is the first day of INSEE Citizenship Education Week, which will held on from October 11 till October 17 in parallel in 7 countries, such as Armenia, Azerbaijan, Belarus, Georgia, Moldova, Russia, and Ukraine. 7 days, 7 countries, and 111 events, both online as well as offline. Thanks to all contributors who make this all to be a real. It's INSEE board, INSEE network in general. It's the local coordinators who invest all their expertise, time, and energy to have this amount of events, professional events, that could be benefit for all who will take part in these activities. Thanks to Federal Agency for Civic Education and Federal Foreign Office of Germany for the support. The goal of INSEE Citizenship Education Week, Art of Living Online, is to build a loyal attitude towards citizenship education providers through demonstrating their potential and popularizing the best citizenship education practices in the region. Briefly about the organizer of the event, as I have mentioned, it's INSEE, Eastern European Network for Citizenship Education, which history traces back to 2015. The mission of the network is to have a tangible contribution in the sustainable development of civil society in Eastern Partnership region and Russia through widening the sphere and the capacity of the institutions and individual experts in the field. INSEE network is always ready to welcome new organizations and individual experts. All details you can see at official webpage of the network, which is insee.eu. If you share the values, the objectives, and the overall aim of the network, feel free to sign the memorandum and become a part of INSEE community. I am Narine Teknejan. I have an honor to present local coordinator from Armenia, which is Youth is Power NGO. I am the co-founder and the trainer of Youth is Power NGO, as well as the member of the Coordination Council of INSEE. Some technical announcement, dear audience. The workshop itself will last 1 hour plus minus. It depends on your participation as well, on your active participation in this meeting. And it will be in English. Feel free to write your questions during the workshop by in the chat, or just raise a hand and the workshop leader will give a chance to you to speak up. Also, feel free to reflect and share your own expertise that you have in your countries. And now let's jump into the workshop itself that gathered all of us. So let's see who is the leader of the workshop and what is it about actually. The workshop titled Collaborative Teaching and Learning in a Digital Age. For me personally, it's very interesting because it's actual, it's important for all the people who are engaged in the educational sector, both online and offline, both formal and non-formal. So the workshop will give us a opportunity to explore the theoretical underpinnings behind the collaborative learning and how these have or maybe have not changed in the rapid shift to digital education caused by COVID-19 pandemic in 2020. The workshop will be led by Anna Gevorkyan. I have an honor to present herself. Anna is a lecturer at the American University of Armenia. She teaches such courses as curriculum design and teaching language skills. Anna is experienced in higher education program policy and management, both locally and in the context of her work with international organizations. Her research interests includes aspects of higher education policy and practice, as well as language teaching. She is a founder of EduCare Foundation, which actually does a great job in the Republic of Armenia by strengthening the capacity of the institutions and the experts who are engaged in educational system. Anna holds an MA degree in the lifelong learning policy and management from the University College London Institute of Education and an MA in teaching English as a foreign language from the American University of Armenia. Anna, thank you for joining us and taking the responsibility to lead such an interesting workshop. From now on, I leave a floor to you and wish us a productive and interesting workshop. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you, Narine, for the great introduction. I was actually following this and I was like, I think I'm in an extremely challenging situation in a way that the word workshop itself means that there is some working part of it that needs to be implemented during the session, and it's designed to be a very practical one. And I think I am in a challenging situation in a way that I'm afraid Ludmila will only be my private person, in a sense that I think all of the experiments I have designed and I will be doing today, Ludmila, I'm sorry, I will be managing them with you at some point, if you don't mind. So maybe we can have a demo version of what this workshop was supposed to be, but is not probably. I don't know to what extent for the people who are following us on Facebook, this will be effective. If you can join the Zoom session, I think that would be extremely helpful for me and for you as well. I honestly do not think it makes a lot of sense to stay outside and not participate in what we're doing. I was just sharing with Narine a couple of minutes ago that I am not a lecture person. I don't even know how to do that, but I come from a pedagogical background, and I come from a specific school. I share the values of a specific school in pedagogy, where probably a way for me to just be a talking head and for you just to listen is not the most effective way for collaboration. But anyways, we will see. I will probably have to play by ear and improvise a little bit, but yeah. Okay, so Ludmila, apologies just up front, I'm sorry. If at some point something goes wrong, what happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas, so anyways. Okay.
Anna, please consider myself as a participant as well.
Okay. Okay, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, so probably we'll do that at some point. Okay, I want to go ahead. I probably won't stay. I maybe want to say a couple of words about why I'm doing this workshop and why specifically on this topic. I said I share a specific value in pedagogy that comes from a social view of education in general. And I decided to actually talk about the idea of collaboration. And I work with a lot of teachers, pre-service, in-service, and I sometimes face the idea that collaboration is often so much reduced to group work, whereas it is and it is not at the same time. So I wanted to maybe broaden this up a little bit and include some other well, I don't want to scare you, theoretical aspects of it behind it, so that it can work the best. So Ludmila, can I ask where you come from? Like basically, what's your background in a sense? Like, what do you do? Do you teach? Are you in an NGO sector? Where are you from?
I'm ex-teacher, so I just have like my postgraduate like Russian and English teacher and also foreign literature, but now I'm working like a marketer and especially in digital marketing. So, but I was also interested about in this topic because I think nowadays we have this reality and we could make some deals also and could teach somehow, because all our professions is also include learning and teaching.
Yes, exactly. I think that's a good start. I want to go ahead and share my screen, and I want to tell you what I had planned for today. So some things I have identified, like key elements for us to talk today. And these key elements about collaboration in teaching and learning, I kind of built them around a specific theory I will talk in a moment. And they are built around the idea of meaning, interaction, and mediation. And I also have prepared some activities that may be applicable to online collaborative environments, but not necessarily. But just because I'm doing this online, so probably it may be applicable to that one. Okay, so I want to go ahead and I want to do the following. I'm going to play a video, very short, like basically 30 seconds. And I want to ask maybe Narine and Ludmila to watch the video and tell me if at the end you think there is a certain type of collaboration, if there is any. Can we do this? Okay. Oh, okay. So, do you think there was some element of collaboration in this video?
I think so, yes. So also it's collaboration and it's teamwork. It's great teamwork. And I think that they have some problem, but they also could fix it. Very creative.
Okay. Do you think that everybody has their own role or mission in this collaboration, in that teamwork, or as you were saying?
Yes.
Okay. So. Do you think it was equally divided?
Also, yeah, I agree with this because they work on like I don't know, they have all equal rights and everyone can do and they know how to do it.
Was there an outcome at the end of this? Like, was there a result, some kind of a result?
Yes. As I noticed that they have like some problem, but they fix it and very creative fix it.
Okay, but there was one. I think they fixed it at the expense of one person at least. Okay, so the final question is. So the final question is: do you think there was some sort of accountability, like individual accountability, among the team members?
Maybe this one who made the light. Maybe he was this individuality.
Okay. Okay, so I want you to keep this in mind because I think what we will be talking in a minute is very much based around the ideas in the video. So, sorry. Okay, so I wanna share like very briefly. I'm hoping you should be familiar with Vygotsky.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so to say, I am a Vygotskian person, and I think what I'm going to say today is an extremely simplistic vision of his pedagogical legacy. But I picked a couple of things from the sociocultural theory, where he was the founder and the big proponent. And I decided to pick them for the idea of collaboration in teaching and learning. And I think what he has about, which is something that is at the core of this theory, is something which is uniquely human. And these are the idea of meaning, interaction, and mediation. And I probably want to start with the idea of meaning. And I want to start with this. Okay, so if I say, I'm going to the bank. Now, I know, what do you understand? Who am I?
I guess
I don't know. Sorry.
I guess yes, you should go to the bank if you inform me that you are going there.
No, who am I? Who am I? I say, no, I'm going to the bank. Who am I?
A worker, someone
Okay.
who is working at the bank. Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Ludmila, who am I?
I have maybe 3 options. It's also bank worker, or maybe I want to take credit or something else. So I need money from the bank, or maybe, I don't know, another, maybe it's company who wants to make deal with a bank, like cooperation.
Very good. Now, please imagine the following situation. I'm standing in the middle of the street. I put a black mask on my face. I have a gun, and I say, I'm going to the bank. Who am I?
Okay, it's only bad stereotype, so it's something criminal, bad guy.
Yeah, probably a robber, I'm guessing.
The same with me. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Now I'm still in the middle of the street. I'm still wearing a black mask. I still have a gun, but at some point I stop. I turn around and I say, I did not really say this line well. Can I say this line again? Who am I?
I don't know, but I have also another option. Maybe this guy, not bad guy, but also like not robber, but worker. I don't know how it will be in English.
Security, yeah.
Security, yes.
Oh, okay. okay. Yeah. So okay. So if I turn to somebody who is my film director and say, can I go again? Who am I?
Actor.
Yeah. Yes. So a sentence that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 6 words lends itself to extreme variety of meanings depending on the context. And this is what one of the main things in teaching and learning is, that when we talk about teaching and learning, we kind of do not restrict it to isolated terms and isolated situations, but we need to make sure that they are fixed in contexts, because this context and the meaning for this context is created between you and me. It's the social interaction that leads to the creation of knowledge about the reality, if I say it like this. So So that's the first important thing that the idea of meaning brings to us. It is created between the individuals through social actions, through social interactions. So here is one more example. Here is one more situation. I have a friend, and this friend is sharing his recent experience with air travel and says the following. It was good. So my air travel was good, except for where I was sitting. They wouldn't let me move. The seat was, what do you understand? What will be the continuation, or what would you expect to hear as a continuation?
Maybe it was Wizz Air or Ryanair.
Okay.
So this is
Maybe. Maybe.
The seat was uncomfortable.
Yeah. Something that I would probably understand was maybe an emergency seat, like, you know, where they basically have more restrictions. Yeah, but anyways, the same situation means different things to us because we come from a difference in our background, knowledge, and experience. So we do not come with empty heads. We come with our own meanings. And that's the idea, that we bring that idea of our own background into the general conversation, and we negotiate that meaning. We clarify, we create, we produce, reproduce maybe that kind of meaning. So one thing, I can skip this one. One thing that is important to keep in mind in that regard, in our discussion about meaning, is that all that background information, all our prior knowledge is actually built in our schema, which is the in-head knowledge that every one of us has. And that's one of the important things to tap on when we are teaching and learning, and doesn't matter in what formats. Okay, I think I'm going to skip this one. Okay, so let's do a quick experiment. Again, when I look at these 7 words, what I have is they look very neutral, but we can all give meanings to them. For example, like this. I will try with hello, and then maybe you can give a try with something else. I can say hello. I can say hello. I can say hello. Hello. So I bring in different meanings, and you definitely imagine different types of situations and social contexts in relation to the meanings that I give to these linguistic words. Okay, so I think I'm moving around the idea of meaning in the way that the word hello as an isolated term is very neutral, but we give a specific meaning to it, and it is embedded in the context. Okay, so ladies, do you want to try with one other word maybe?
Yeah, I want to try with good morning. To pronounce it in a different way. Maybe you can guess in which mood am I.
Okay.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
So it depicts the mood that I have.
Exactly. And it immediately creates all the visual images that I have in relation to what you're saying. Okay. Ludmila, do you want to give it a try?
Yes. Maybe with please.
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 Yes. Okay. Okay, great. So yes, if I if I summarize a couple of things, I need to go moving back. Sorry, at some point, but I want to summarize this idea of meaning with this in a way that we consider learning as social and collaborative, and it is through these interactions that we create the meaning. Alone, that meaning does not exist. The second one is learning happens between individuals, and we need to make sure that there are meaningful interactions between these two individuals. those two individuals, or maybe more, they make the meaning together. And this process affects each of them. They each change as a result of that process. And I think, again, through these examples, learning was based on contexts, and it will not happen, development in learning will not happen when we teach through isolated items. So that's something that combines. I want to share this piece of research. It's a bit old, but I think it's a very good illustration. And I want to ask the following. It focuses on the idea of context and the idea of learning as such through context. So there was this experiment by Wilson and Bransford, and what they did was the following. They divided students into 3 groups, and group 1 was asked the idea was to learn vocabulary. So they were teaching some vocabulary to these students, new words. And so group 1 was asked to list 30 words, was given, a list of 30 words to memorize. And because they were going to be tested the next day. Group 2 was given a list of 30 words and was asked to rate them according to their pleasantness or unpleasantness. So for example, if I look at the word, which emotions do I have about this word? Is it a pleasant word or an unpleasant word? Does it bring what kind of emotions? And then group 3 had a list of 30 words, and they needed to decide which word is more important or not for the situation of a desert island. So they were given a situation and say, okay, imagine you are going to be placed in a desert island. Please decide from this list of 30 words which are important for you, which are not. And then they were going to be, each group was going to be tested the next day. What do you think the results were? Which group performed the best? For which group learning the words was most effective?
I would for third one group.
Why? Mm-hmm.
I think when we connect with some emotions or feelings, it's more, I don't know, describe the meaning of the word and you will connect it. Yeah. And I remember some movies by Woody Allen, and he also make he remembers some numbers, and he connected to, I don't know, some animals or situation, and it was much more better than just watch to the list of paper and I don't know, remember it.
Yes.
and I remember myself from school time, and I just read some words and forget and poems on next day.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. So the group that had the best results was number 3. Why? Because of 2 things. Because they were given a context, and they were given words that could be learned meaningfully. So there was a certain meaning to that. That meaning was as simple as, imagine you are in a desert island, relate to that situation and tell us which words are important or not. And then, the worst results definitely were among group 1, because memorization of words does not lead to long-term retention of anything, of any type of information as such. So yes, that's another example of why meanings are important, why contexts are important, because they lead to a certain retention of information and the creation of meaningful information as such. Narnia, did you have a question?
Yeah, no, not a question, but I want also to share, to reflect on it. I also agree that group number 3 has the most productive way of working, not only because the structure they have chosen to work, but also the last sentence, they were not told that they would be tested. So they are not working under pressure. They are free, and this independence that they are doing it for themselves. It also gives us emotionally positive energy to reflect and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So thank you for that comment. Okay. So I think I already sound like a broken record. So maybe I should move to the second element by this. I'm going to skip this. I'm sorry. Okay. And the second element is this element of mediation. Ludmila and Narinette, do you by any chance know Spanish? I hope you don't. Good. Because I'm going to say something in Spanish, and I want you to repeat after me. I'm asking you to do something in Spanish, an action, and I want you to listen and repeat after me. Not the words, the action. Toma un papel blanco, dibuje un árbol verde, entonces toma las tijeras y corte el papel. Did you get me?
I don't know. Only blanco, maybe it's white, something.
Okay. Okay, now look what I'm doing. Toma un papel verde, blanco, papel blanco, una pluma verde, dibuje, árbol, toma las tijeras, corte, el papel. If I asked you to do the same, would you be able to do it even without understanding?
I think yes, because I will see what are you doing, so I will be like monkey and Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V.
Okay, this is an extreme situation. Probably this is not happening in life. But what I showed is an extreme simple situation of mediation, which is I include a big layer of modeling that should help you develop. Let me say that like this. So I use different tools, and in this case, these are very physical tools, like this and this. So I used different types of tools, symbols, that would help you get the meaning. And maybe in the first phase, repeat after me or model after me, and then be able to do it individually. So the idea of mediation, and mostly human mediation, is very much embedded in everything that we do. The idea of a parent modeling or mediating actions for the child are exactly the examples of this. So when the child cannot, for example, hold a spoon, the parent teaches and shows how to do that. And after a certain period of time, the child is able to repeat the same action and to generalize that action. So the idea of mitigation comes from the fact that as a teacher, as an educator, we need to make sure that we create those conditions in which our students will be able to develop through our mediation, through us being mediators of their process. So one of the key aspects of this is that according to this theory, the development happens from the outer world to the inner world. In other words, from the social context, from the social environment into the individual environment. And so the idea of we need to be able to work with others, collaborate with others, interact with others, and through those processes, we will internalize certain actions. A very important, very common way of looking at the idea of mediation is through what Vygotsky came to term as ZPD, the zone of proximal development. And if I put it like in very simple terms, that's the difference between what I cannot do at all and what I can do with help so that I can do alone. So the idea is the following. When I asked you to basically draw a tree in Spanish, this was the outer circle. What I helped you with a little bit, I brought certain mediation tools to help you get the meaning before you are able to move to the smaller circle and do it alone. So learning happens in your ZPD. This is where learning should be structured. This is how learning should be structured. And collaboration has an extreme importance in that regard, according to this theory. Let's put it like this. So that's the whole idea of me holding your hand, moving you in your development before you can do certain actions alone. And if we take a look at this, do you know what this is in English? Like those, you know,
It's like
construction thing, construction thing that holds the building. Do you know what it's called in English?
In English, no.
What's the Russian word for that?
Lisa.
Yes, exactly. Строительная лиса, exactly. Yes. In English, it's called scaffold. It's scaffolding. So do you keep, okay, let me ask this. Do you always need these scaffolds, these constructions when you are building a building? Is it always there?
No, not always.
When do you need it, Narine?
When we are working with a big building or on a high roof or something like that, so we need some stuff to stand on it and work more easier.
Yeah. And when do you remove it?
When we finish.
When the building can stand alone. That's where you remove it. So that's the idea of scaffolding, making sure that you give me support in my learning so that I can hold to that support before I'm able to do something alone, individually, not alone, individually. Okay. Something similar. And the idea of scaffolding, I don't know if you are familiar with Jerome Bruner, an American educator and psychologist. He did not come with the name of scaffolding, but he came with the idea of scaffolding. When in his experiments, he was observing mothers working with, playing with their children. And what he came up with was like, when the children were given different, shapes and figures to play with, at some point they were confused and they had no idea what to do with them. But when their mothers actually modeled and showed them how these shapes and figures can be played with, he realized that that's a very important step in the learning and in the development of the children. So he came with the idea, and then after that, Vygotsky gave it a name of scaffolding as such. So that's where it comes from. Here's a great example of scaffolding. when you go to a swimming class or when you go to a swimming pool and you cannot swim, the chances that you will just be, you know, thrown into the water and then you will swim are there, but probably they are very little. What will help you develop your swimming skills will be the fact that you are given certain, you know, all these types of scaffolds, different types of material support that will help you hold on temporarily for some time, for the beginning, until you are able to swim individually. The same happens in teaching and learning. As teachers, we need to make sure that there is the central aspect of this where we support our learners in doing this. Because very often we are on the extreme, like we see what they cannot do and we want them to see what they can do, but we disregard the middle part of this. And I think that's an important aspect of this in terms of that that support guides the development of and learning as such. And so, okay, and so in terms of this,
may I share something?
Sure.
Thank you. Just about the mediation, yeah, stuff. Can we include also as one of the components communication skills, both verbal and non-verbal? For example, on the exercise that you have presented to us, we see that maybe verbally there was less communication or totally no communication in any way. But as you have shown it, yeah, it's a diversity, importance of the diversity of communication. This is the first step that I wanted to ask. May we include this in this learning process? In this
exactly.
cycle? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what I have here as a structure is the following, like including that activity as well. It starts from I do. So things that I do, things that we do, and this is where our collaboration starts.
Yeah.
Things that you do, and again, you do. So the number 2 is we do, in a sense that this is where we create that meaning. This is where we try out things. This is where I model that interaction for you. This is where I support you, actually, in that regard. So
it's a
yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a cycle of transformation.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And second one, just I want to think together. Yeah. When you have brought the example of swimming and the stuff and the guidelines that help us to swim, actually, isn't appear a risk that you can be addicted to it? Because as a swimmer, I tell you that those persons who came to the swimming pool and they use this stuff, yeah, in order to swim, to get familiar with swimming, etc. Through the SWOT analysis, if we do the strengths, the threats, there is a risk that this person can get too much familiar to these attributes, additional stuff that helps them to swim. In other words, can get addicted to it and learn it for a long period of time, then he or she will do it without these attributes. What do you think?
Okay, so I think one of the I'm trying to get this, but okay, one of the important things here. Sorry, I just want to do this. One of the important words here is this. Temporary. The educator is responsible for ensuring that this is a temporary support, and that if learning and development is happening, it needs to be taken away. Like very similar to the scaffold to the building. When the building is ready, you don't leave the scaffold there. There is no need for that. And it's the responsibility of the educator to do that, to remove the scaffold when the learner is ready to work individually. Okay. Okay, I think maybe I should just skip this section as well, and because I have something else maybe I can show. Okay, and I want to sorry, I want to clear this. Okay, so maybe we can, if I can take another maybe 15 minutes of your time, I would like to maybe talk a little bit about the collaboration itself, the elements of collaboration, in a sense that, and I'm for the purposes of this discussion only, I'm going to use cooperative, collaborative interchangeably, although like there is literature that says it should be separated and it should not be. So I'm not going to get into that, but let's use this interchangeably. So we come to the idea of collaboration as such. And Johnson & Johnson, actually David Johnson and Theodore Johnson, one is a psychologist, another one is a curriculum expert. They identify 4 important aspects of cooperation, collaboration, and how important these are for people who collaborate in general. Most of their research they do in terms of collaboration, cooperation versus competition. And they come to the idea, they have shown through their research that the idea of cooperation is a lot more beneficial than the idea of competition. And for the following, for example, 4 aspects. So number 1 is positive interdependence. When we work together as a group or as a team, we influence each other, as we noticed like earlier, and that we share a common drive for success. So each of us has its own, contribution to the success of the group. The second one is individual and group accountability, which means that everyone should contribute, everyone has a role, and everyone is accountable for the results in the group. Number 3 is the development of teamwork skills. Some of the research, among teachers mostly, shows that some of the teachers who do not see the value in collaborative work also do not see value in developing teamwork skills. Whereas, for instance, you will probably not be able to be effective if you do not develop soft skills, working in a team, working in a group, collaborating with each other, negotiating, managing conflicts, interacting. These things need to be explicitly taught to whoever you're working with, trainees, students, whoever these are. Without that, a collaborative process will probably not be effective and sufficient. And the final one is the productivity or the group processing. So we kind of need to make sure to reflect on the idea of why some members are helpful, some are not, and how this can be changed. So for instance, I have this extract from their research where they compare the idea of cooperation and competition. And they bring this extract in a sense that most of the evidence supports the idea that working towards a common goal leads to higher achievement, greater productivity than working alone. And the atmosphere of cooperation is more productive than the so-called atmosphere of competition in a setting, training, classroom, doesn't matter where. So So that's I will leave this here, and I want to share one more result from a recent research, which was this. A professor from the Stanford University. He researched about around like 27,000 students overall, and he wanted to see to what extent the idea of collaboration works in an online environment. And what he found was that students who participate, for example, in online courses, students who participate in groups, who are more involved in collaborative tasks, they tend to complete the courses more than those who work individually. For instance, like you can see an extreme difference between students who work alone and students who, for example, work in a team in an online course. So that's one of the recent research that shows even in an online setting, working collaboratively and as a team matters a lot. Okay, so maybe we can do the following. I want to play like a really short 2-minute video by a British educator, Dylan William, who talks about the idea of collaboration. And maybe you can listen to him and tell me what you think, because he talks about the idea of productive collaboration and unproductive collaboration. Okay, so that's a short video. Let's listen to this.
Collaborative learning in the classroom works when you have group goals, so you have students working as a group rather than just working in a group, and individual accountability, so that every single student is individually accountable as well as collectively accountable, so you can't have any passengers. And there are many ways in which teachers can set up those two conditions. But if you can establish group goals with individual accountability, then the research evidence suggests that you can approximately double the speed of student learning. When you create a community of learners, when you create a group of people who meet collectively on shared goals to help each other master something rather magical happens. You actually get a higher level of achievement, greater sustained engagement than you can do on your own. And the school students and the teachers are collectively engaged, collectively participating in this joint venture of helping everybody grow. And of course, then you have all the consequences of that. Teachers would still be learners as well as teachers. Students would be teachers as well as learners. So blurring those roles, shared goals, mutual respect, valuing each person as an individual and helping them achieve the most they can. So a good example of a way in which a teacher would set up group goals with individual accountability is to set a task for a group in which different students have different roles. And a common mistake teachers then make is to assign the role of reporter to one of the students at the beginning of the task. That's a big mistake because it doesn't create individual accountability. You have group goals, but everybody who knows that they're not the reporter knows that they're not going to be required to speak on behalf of the group. So their focus, their attention, their concentration will dip. If everybody in the group knows that they may be called on to be the reporter for the group, then you have set up a situation in which they are collectively responsible and individually accountable. So as I said, the research shows that you have to create these two conditions, this collective responsibility, the group goals, and making students individually accountable. And that's when you get the most effective group work situations. And as Bob Slavin's own research shows, most group work in schools fails to meet at least one of these two conditions and therefore is ultimately ineffective. Jigsaw groups don't work. They're great fun, but there's no evidence they actually cause any more learning than that kind of approach. Only conditions under which you will get effective improvement of learning over just standard operating procedure is to create group goals and individual accountability.
Okay, so so I think what he was mostly talking about, I can maybe summarize two things. One was that it's important to have group goals, And for another thing, it's important to have an individual accountability where every member in the group should have his or her own task and responsibility to complete in a group. And those are important things. And then one thing that maybe can be very unusual for many of us. I think some of the traditions of our organization of group work or collaborative work goes that we always assign someone to report from a group. And then one thing he's saying is completely inefficient to say upfront from the very beginning that you are going to be the reporter, because this way his role is limited and his contribution to the group goal is extremely limited. So I don't know if we have anybody else to discuss with, but but maybe we can move on. So yes, I want to okay, maybe
Anna-Jan, sorry, may I share also my thoughts with you?
Sure, go ahead.
Because it was very interesting experiment, how the group works, where the collaboration, communication starts and ends, and the growth during the teamwork, during the educational process. And I think that within these components, it's important also to mention about inclusiveness and active participation, because as we see, each person in a group has her or his own role and contribution. So he or she thinks that he is that person who could add value in this process, in this educational process. And as the professor, the expert in education states, at this very point, the magical stuff are happening. Magic happens. Besides that, it brings also some additional components, such as collective responsibility as well as individual responsibility, also mutual respect and understanding within a group, within a team. And when previously you were talking about the cooperation, we see competition, some stuff of competition. I have remembered about the stuff that we are mentioning in non-formal and formal education, that these components are core components when we are for cooperation in non-formal education. We do not give any numbers to the students or learners of the process, and in formal education, this is one of the core components that students or pupils, they know for sure that at the end they will gather some score for their work. Thank you for sharing. It was really, really interesting.
I think even in the formal education, you can still include lots of collaborative aspects rather than, individualizing it a lot and saying that each of them should compete for something. I think each of them should compete with themselves rather than somebody else. Okay. So if I want to wrap up this section, maybe I think when we talk about collaboration and when we talk about collaborative tasks, I kind of identified these 4 things that need to be kept in mind. The type of interaction for the students, the type of interaction that the instructor has with the students, the type of interactions that students have with each other, the materials around which they should work, and then as we've seen already, the role of expectations and responsibilities. How are they distributed across the group? Okay. So, okay, I actually have a couple of activities that maybe I can share. I don't know if some of these are going to work, but I have like maybe 4 that I can share for the people. I don't know if anybody is watching it or rewatching it at some point. So there is this one tool, which is it's an excellent tool actually. That's called a Tri-Sider. It's an online survey, but it's a collaborative tool. And it kind of works. I think give me a second and I can show you how it works. Okay, so the way it happens is this. Let me do this. I can maybe put it in a chat. And I think you should be able to join me in this platform. So let me know if you're there. And maybe we can try this together. If you follow the link, you should be able to join.
I'm there.
Okay, perfect. So, I have prepared a question already. And Narine, if you want to give it a try, you can click on add idea like this. And then you can put your idea. So what does collaboration mean to you? Probably I'm going to say interaction. And I'm going to add my name as well. Save. And you should be able to see what I have. So Satanik, and I don't know our Georgian participant, I can't read, I can't read the name. Sorry, if you want to give it a try, please, you're welcome to try this.
I have added my board.
Yeah, probably I need to refresh this. Give me a second. I don't see yours. Did you save yours?
Yeah, I see it now. It's networking.
Wait. Okay. Yes, perfect. Perfect. Okay. So it collects different ideas in one platform. And then you maybe would not want to stop here, but maybe I'm going to vote for yours. So you can give a chance to see, okay, which of the ideas is closer to collaboration. So I think we are few, we don't see the dynamics, but the idea is for everyone basically to contribute, and it's an online tool where you can, include many participants. It works online and offline. So everyone has their own role and responsibility for this, and you can make it more complex, less complex. So the idea is that, again, it lends itself to a lot of discussions because you don't stop by the brainstorming, but you can vote, you can add some of the ideas, and then you can see how this can, move around. Another thing I want to share is, I don't know if anybody works with online shared reading. But here is Scribble is a really nice platform for collaborative discussions around a text in one platform. It's extremely easy to use. You upload the text, and what you do is, I think maybe I can, okay, I don't think I can invite, but maybe I can show you how this works. So you can select a text, and you can add a comment to the text, something like this, and everybody can see it. And again, you can share it with your class, with your participants, doesn't matter with who. And again, people can comment, and then you can all discuss this together. So I think in the cases where you are restricted to, for example, online synchronous communication, this tool can help to bring in discussions online asynchronously, not at the same time. So that's another tool. And then the final tool that I have, it's an excellent one if you work with stories or storytelling. So it's called Plot Generator. And for instance, it's really nice for the students who are struggling with story making, because honestly, most of the time they just struggle with the idea or how to organize that idea. So for instance, you can have, this is a very structured way that they can go about the story creation. Something like, okay, you can choose a name after the weather. Let's call after the weather. Opening, okay, focus on the relationship. Conflict, okay, let's make it emotional. And then here, if you're struggling with a name, let's go with male, suggest. So it can suggest a name. What does the okay, let's go to something else. Something the protagonist would like to say to the second character, like, I love you, I'm your father. You're struggling with ideas, click on it. It will give a suggestion, the name of the place it happens, suggest, and you can click again and again and again and again, so until you are happy. And so it gives you a lot of possibilities to play with it for the beginning. In relation to what I was talking about, this is a great scaffold. This is the scaffold for the story making, for the storytelling for the students, in case they are struggling. So it is a support until they are able to do it individually. So that's, I wanted to bring this as an example of us, you know, how you can support your students in case they are struggling with some of the ideas. So I think that's basically it. No, that's not basically it. I have like a lot other things to say, but probably I should stop just here. In a way, maybe I should also share about this one and then finish with this one. I don't know if anybody has used de Bono and de Bono's heads, the idea of heads. Edouard de Bono is a mathematician, a philosopher, a physician. I think he's kind of a combination of all of that. But he has done a lot of work on thinking, the idea of thinking a lot, and critical thinking specifically. And one of the instruments that, for example, he has proposed, one of the ways, is the use of different types of hats that you can wear to look at a situation from different angles. So as we were talking about the different accountabilities in the group, I personally use this a lot in my own classrooms, where I ask my students in a group to wear, someone wears a white hat, someone a red, someone yellow, someone blue, someone, you can change maybe the variations. And then each of them have their specific responsibilities to look at them. So for instance, if we want to talk about the candy of M&M, so this can be like, okay, what are the data? The data are that, okay, maybe there are how many? 6 colors of this candy. What are the facts? And these colors are ta ta ta. What are the emotions if you are wearing a red hat? Very positive emotions. I love candy. It brings happiness to me. So the different things that the situation can create for the students to work collaboratively and to share different aspects of this collaboration. I actually want to finish with this. Maybe I have a final quote somewhere here. Sorry. I think I skipped the final quote, which was this. I think at some point my speech got a little bit disjointed, chunked, given the number of participants today. But and I rushed through some of the things, and then maybe I should just finish with this one as a message for people who are in education. Doesn't matter whether this is civic education, formal, non-formal, it really doesn't matter. I think we all work towards the same goal. And I think I want to finish with this one. I don't know if there are any questions outside the Zoom platform, on Facebook or anywhere else, but maybe this at least concludes some section that I could perform with this limited number of people. But I hope at least it was a bit helpful to anyone who was just watching or maybe listening, or some of the ideas maybe could be picked up and implemented. Okay, I'm going to stop here.
Thank you, Anna. Sometimes we use words which do not depict the situation we are in or the reality. Just we are using the words, but now I will use the words that really reflect my own impression regarding the workshop that you have done. It was super professional and super interactive. The level of participation, of the at least me and Ludmila was in a high level. So we were growing during the process, and the holistic approach that you have driven or put in your methodology, in your structure, I really appreciate it. Actually, it's the second year that I have, and our organization, Youth is Power, has an honor to collaborate with you. And from the beginning, I know that this workshop will be highly professional, productive, and useful for the audience who will participate. Unfortunately, the number wasn't the one that we were expected, but I hope that our colleagues will seize the chance and watch this workshop. Although being in this workshop, so I mean directly participating in the Zoom conference, it's just another meaning and another impact they would have. Thank you. I have really good impression, and I hope that it's not. It doesn't matter you are in a field of formal education, academic sphere, or non-formal education. The tools, the integrative approach, the diversity, the teamwork, the meaning of collaboration always should be there in order to have a greater impact, and for each individual to feel himself or herself the full member, or to take the ownership of the progress and the growth by themselves. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for doing a great job in EduCare Foundation, because personally, me and the organization I present, we are following the work that you are doing, and we wish you best of luck. Thanks a bunch for accepting the invitation to be a workshop leader and being with us today now. And thanks to the small audience, but interactive and active participants. I mean, Ludmila, and maybe the active observer with Georgian name. I don't know who this person is, but thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you very much. I was saying the idea behind this was that we need to interact to create meanings. And I'm sorry this did not happen to the extent that I have envisioned, but again, I hope some parts of it probably were useful to some people at some point of their lives. So yes, thank you again for inviting me to do this, and I hope there will be another chance to do this in full.
Sure, the pleasure was totally mine. Have a nice day, Anna-Jan, and see you in the nearest future.
Yeah, when I see you. Okay, take care,
audience, everyone. I hope to meet you during at 4:30, and we will speak up about the environmental issues that we are facing nowadays in Armenia. So see you later, and have a nice continuation of your day. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.